The following is an episode of The Brian Brawdy Show, and listener discretion is strongly advised. Because if you're easily triggered, outraged, offended, maligned, mortified, insulted, or otherwise verbally injured, if you're constantly looking for a bubble, a safe space, some training wheels, or some water wings muffined to get through your day, take it up with a therapist. I'm not your shrink.
Thanks for listening to the Brian Brawdy Show. It's time to mortal up.
Evening once again. Welcome to what I'm told, in addition to being Tyranny, the name of the show. This is episode 516. Let me say hello right out of the box to Candace. Welcome to the Brian Brawdy Show. We've got a lot to talk about tonight because Tyranny, you see a set of hands and behind bars in an old prison. You might be thinking, oh, we know about that kind of tyranny. And at the macro level, we're certainly talking about that kind of tyranny today with everything going on. We've got all kinds of things to get to. But there's also, later on in the Mortal Up segment, there's a little more micro tyranny, a personal tyranny that we want to use to tie it all together and, just wrap it up before we get ready to head out. And now just 2 hours, actually 1 hour and 58 minutes, I guess, away from the vice presidential debate. Now, I got in trouble from the last presidential debacle because I kept saying to everyone, oh, this is going to be the greatest night in the history of television. And it wasn't. It wasn't that great a night at all. So I don't want to sell it too long this evening. But again, about an hour and 57 minutes, let's say, away from the vice presidential debate. And depending upon what you believe, President Trump, did he have COVID? Doesn't he have COVID? Is he an old guy? Is he morbidly obese? Is any of these other things going on? We're going to have a chance to talk about that tonight because this vice president slot could be pretty important for both guys. Of course, this evening, we'll fill you in a little bit on the Alliance of Extraordinary Vigor. We work hard on that every day to make sure that that's going to be up and running. We're hoping by the 1st of November, we'll have a place. We'll have the opportunity, the chance for people to hang out, like minds, little group, and it's called the Alliance of Extraordinary Vigor, and it's one of the things that we offer at radiobry.com. Don't forget, you can also head on over to mortalup.com, the Brian Brawdy Show, brianbrawdy.associates, you get it. You can head on over there for the poll question. You can register your vote, and tonight's a pretty important one. You know, we've been kicking this around for a while, but you can head on over to mortalup.com, have an opportunity to cast your vote, and maybe, I don't know, we'll talk to Wayne here in a bit, see if you also have it thrown up in the feed, but you can register your vote at mortalup.com, and we'll get to that a little bit later. But as I started to say earlier, we're talking about a vice presidential debate that is as important, possibly, as any there's ever been. And it's simply because if President Trump has COVID and he's 74 years old, he's getting up there in years. Is he going to be more susceptible, not less? Then that makes Vice President Pence take a look at him a little more. And then former Vice President Joe Biden on the other side of the aisle, right? He's getting up there in years as well. I think he's even older than 74. He's getting up there in years, which means Kamala, I call her Godzilla, but Kamala Harris is someone that they should take a look at, or we should take a look at, the voters should take a look at, just so you know what you're getting, right? What it is, because there's a lot of times, not only do vice presidents serve their term, they end up running for president, sometimes successfully, sometimes not, but they end up running for president, when the 4-year term is up, and if it's an 8-year term, when the 8-year term is up. So it's a pretty big deal. Candace says, Wallace caused a lot of that, just my opinion. Oh, the difference between debate and debacle. Candace, I agree with you. I would also say, just to give you an idea of where I stand on it, I think if President Trump had let Joe Biden answer some of the questions instead of going right at him. If he had let him answer some of the questions, Biden could be at 10, 15 percentage points in the poll today. So hopefully President Trump in the second debate, which I got to ask you, everyone's saying, oh, President Trump, he's faking COVID so that he doesn't have to have a second debate with Joe Biden. I don't think the president is worried at all about a second debate with Joe Biden. Not in the least. I think he's begging for one. He's hoping for one. He can't wait for the next debate. So this whole thing that he staged COVID so that he could get out of doing the debate, I don't get it. And then I heard today that Joe Biden says, well, I need to have him tested again. I don't want to do the debate if he has COVID. And here's the thing, and we've talked about it before. Now, what is it? 99.5%, 99.7%, whatever it is. It's and obviously we think about the families that have lost loved ones. We think about is COVID deadly to some people? It most certainly is. But with the cure rate the way it is, there you go, Wayne. Thank you for flashing that as a reminder. The cure rate the way it is. Should we really be worried that the two people battling for president, maybe one doesn't want to do a debate because he's afraid of COVID? What the hell's the mask for? Right? If this mask is supposed to be the be-all, end-all, what's the mask for? Wear a mask, Muffin. You can do the debate. You don't have to worry. Wear a mask. Oh, wait, hold on. This just in. Oh, the mask isn't the be-all to end-all? Then why do we have to wear them? So I don't understand. If you're going to do a debate, wear the mask. And when it comes time to answer, drop your mask. Or put him like, you know what would be good? Like, you ever go to visit someone in jail? Not that you would, right? But if you ever have and you like that, you have to talk to them through plexiglass. I say we do it through plexiglass. I say we have them each, right? And the moderator picks up the phone and says, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? Then you don't have to worry about giving everyone COVID and you're busy running around in a mask. But I don't get it. Here's another thing. If someone could help me. Give him an N95 and a viral suit him up. I'm in, Candace. Here's another thing I want to ask you. Apparently, everyone's upset that the president got in is it an SUV? I don't know. Is it the Beast? Is it what? Was it some vehicle that's airtight and this and that? And he's driving around from the hospital, waving hello to everyone. And they say, can you believe that he exposed the Secret Service agents? Every time he goes out the door, he exposes Secret Service agents. That's what you do when you do the job. If you've never been involved in the protection of a political candidate, then, well, I don't know, maybe your opinion doesn't count. But for those of us that have, you always put yourself at risk when you decide to defend a candidate. You always do. But let's just say that there's like, oh, they really needed to know what they were getting into. They're Secret Service agents, for God's sakes. They know what they're getting into. But putting all of that aside, if he's in this SUV, whatever it is he was busy driving around in, and Wayne, I don't know, was it the Beast? Was it the normal presidential limo? Was it an SUV? I don't know what. He was in some vehicle. And if he wore a mask, can you explain to me, why is everyone worried? I thought if you wore a mask, you were out of the woods. Wayne, you know anything about this?
Well, he was wearing a mask and he was inside the SUV with the windows closed. Their big issue was the Secret Service being exposed.
Isn't there a partition between Secret Service? Is it like a limo? Like if you're going to roll around in a limo, you can put up your window?
Yeah.
Isn't it? I think, look, if you can rent a limo for a Friday night prom in high school and you can roll up the partition between yourself and the driver, you mean the president of the United States doesn't have a partition? He can roll up between himself and the Secret Service agents? I don't know. I've never been in it. Just saying.
Yeah.
Right? Candace says, just something to make news. Maybe have been glass in between. I agree with you. And Sarah says, however, surgeons ever talk to patients before they go under? How have surgeons ever talked to patients before they go under? Yeah, that's a great point. I never get a chance to talk to my surgeons, at least the ones of late, Sarah. I'm out long before they ever saunter into the room, right? My guys are busy going, ooh, look how steady my hands are and how nice the manicure the pedicure. The pedicure is when you're right, because I don't want these guys arm wrestling. I don't want them getting the door for me. I don't want them touching anything. They're neurosurgeons, right? I don't want them to mess that manicure up. But I get your point. How have they ever talked to someone through a mask? Yeah, you know what I mean? So I guess they could do a debate through the mask. I don't know. For me, it's I like to see people's facial expressions. I like to see people smile. I like to see their pearly whites, and especially these people in the media.
Thanks for listening to the Brian Brawdy Show. Until next time, get out there and mortal up. Thanks for listening.
I hear Bill's voice from time to time, but I didn't think it was. So the point I was trying to make before Bill had to nose his way into the show, the point I was trying to make is that I like to see people's facial expressions. I like to see everything going on with their smiles. They spend all this money to bleach their teeth. Let's see their pearly whites. And I got to tell you, I just, if you're going to be the commander in chief, you're going to be this, going to be that. I don't know, guys. I really don't. Candace, I'd love your opinion. Wayne, obviously, I'd love yours. Sarah, I would love your opinion. Does this work out being a bonus for the president? And let's just say, now I'm not into conspiracy theories, right? Because if I was, there'd be 100 other we could lead with. But do you find it odd that it's all Republicans? Now, I don't know. Maybe there's something to it. Don't know. Couldn't tell you. But how is it that all I'm hearing about is all Republicans coming down with the Wuhan wheeze? I don't hear anybody else. It's Bart. I am in the shop. Correct? Spelling optional. Very good. Hello, Bart. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. All I'm saying is, right, if the mask is the be-all to end-all, then if you got your mask on, you're good. But then if you go, hey, well, I want to do a debate, and I want people to see my facial expressions, then I think you'll be okay. If you keep your 6 feet, right, that's supposedly a thing. It's not like there's any wind blowing, so you don't have to worry about whether you're upwind or downwind. Oh, Bart, speaking about being in the shop, I incorporated this into the studio this evening. That's right. Thanks to Shane, who said to me, I really miss the gong. And the gong heard round the world. It's too small in here to get the gong in, Shane. So, excuse me. Thanks to my brother Bob, he went ahead and manufactured this beautiful gong for me. Right? It's an upside-down fire extinguisher, but he tuned it to such a degree. And this nice little wooden mallet, right, with a leather thing on the end. It's just absolutely beautiful. So I have that in case, I don't know. Maybe I should send it for Wayne, and then every time he wants to bleep me, he'll just hit the gong sound instead. Maybe that's the way to do it. I don't know. But in any event, that's what's going on this evening. The big vice presidential debate. Will there be plexiglass? Won't there be plexiglass? Will there be masks? Won't there be masks? And again, the big thing, and we talked about this on Monday evening. Oh, and we had a birthday celebration last evening from a family member of the crew. So I apologize that we weren't on last evening, but it was like, really wasn't much of a decision when you think about it, right? Because we get a chance to celebrate the birthday of a beloved family member, and we're like, yeah, we are all over it. But we've talked about it Monday night, I guess was the night. We talked about the cult of personality, and people want to get all worked up. They're either going to vote pro-Trump or anti-Trump, pro-Biden or anti-Biden. And for me, it's always come down to the issues. It's always come down to anything other than Gorbachev's coined phrase, the cult of personality, right? Everyone's like, oh, never Trumpers, never Bideners, never this, never that, or pro this or pro that. How about the policies? The hell with the politicians. How about the policies? That's what always kind of drags me in. And I would also say to you of late, and then we're going to talk about it here in just a minute, but of late with all the declassified documents and everything going on with Hillary Clinton, and did Brennan brief President Obama? Why would he write notes saying that he did if he didn't, and all these other things? I'm to the point now where maybe even policy takes a back seat, and let's just arrest the people that are guilty of committing treason. Let's arrest the people that are guilty of committing crimes. Let's arrest the people that tried to steal the results of an actual election. I don't care if Mr. Magoo got elected president. I really couldn't. All right, Wayne, take it away. We'll finish this up after the break.
The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent.
All right, so that about covers that. Just in case anyone says, "Oh, I can't believe what Brian said. I can't even be associated with that." So the views, as always, are not the views of anyone other than me. I suspect sometimes I have views that Wayne isn't even thrilled with. But the nice thing about Wayne is he gets to pipe up and go, "Oh, you know what? That's just idiotic." And as I say all the time, you can't spell Brian without the I in idiot. So let's breaking news, Wayne. Don't call me idiotic. Tell me something new.
You're just being nice now. That ain't what I
No,
call
I'm just
ya.
being nice. What did you think about Walk Away, Candace? I loved it. It was a very good, it was a nice little respite. And that's one of the things that I wanted to talk about now before we get to the bottom of the hour. What happened to the day where we rooted for upholding the law, whatever that law may be? I'm told right, not speeding, not vehicle and traffic, not those kind of laws, but, other laws. Whatever happened to the day where we voted to uphold those laws? But here's the question, and I wish it was the poll question, which I guess, Wayne, we should probably get to this evening before I get too carried away. So let's do this. Wayne, would you throw up, how can they get to the poll? And then what is tonight's poll? Why don't you do that, Wayne? Let us know what we're talking, because you and I talk about this all the time. We've been talking about this for months. Wayne, what's the poll and what significance do you think it has? All right. Well, until Wayne comes back, you can register your vote at mortalup.com.
Okay.
We'll figure out.
And
All right. You ready? You back?
Yeah. And here's the poll question for today.
All righty. Are we the people heading toward a civil war? Oh, that's a great question. The people in America, are we heading towards a civil war? Because there's some people that say, contrary, Candace, to Walk Away, there's some people that say no matter who wins, it's going to be time to go to guns. Now, I don't know if they mean actual guns, right? You would hope that they'd be smart enough not to, bring vitriol to a gunfight, right? It's like that thing from Indiana Jones where the guy's busy spinning the sword and Indiana grabs a gun and shoots him, right? Not the time where Indiana grabs an empty holster and shoots him with his index finger and his thumb. But you know what I mean? The part before that, you'd hope that not be the case. So when people say go to guns, I think they just mean there's going to be a brawl. Well, all kinds of people think there's going to be a brawl no matter who wins. So our question for this evening, our poll over at mortalup.com, are we the people, right? People here in America, are we heading toward a civil war? Is that what's gonna happen, regardless of the outcome? And I have to tell you, people seem apoplectic on both sides of the coin. And it would seem to me that maybe the survivalists were right, right? Maybe the people that are always saying, hey, the sky's falling, maybe it really is falling here in the States. I don't know. Could be. Guess we'll know in a month or more. So that's our poll question for today. But now back to the question that's kind of on my mind, if you don't mind. When did we start voting for the cult of personality? It's all about the person. All about the Gipper. Win one for the Gipper. All about the personality and not about the policies. And what if one of the policies is upholding the law? Let me just ask you this just in. Drop the mic. Quick question. Why would Brennan write down in his notes that he briefed POTUS on Hillary's plan to do the bait and switch, to do the Sherlock shuffle, to do kabuki theater, to try to distract what was going on with the email scandal, Benghazi scandal, probably all wrapped into one. But why would Brennan have put those notes down? And now that they've declassified, I think I heard today, Wayne, there was another 1,000 documents. Could we just say, I'm all over voting for the guy that will see this investigation through?
Yep.
We are not driving the machine. Bart, Sarah, I think that's a very valid point. We are not driving the machine. Candace says, not when Trump is reelected. He'll take care of it, no doubt in my mind. All right, Candace, perfect. Oh, thank you, Counterpunch. You can respond to Brian's daily poll at mortalup.com. So let's get your vote. Let's know what's going on. We'll have Wayne tell us at the end of the show what's going on. So, Wayne, what do you think about this whole thing? Is it wrong for me? And I talked to some pretty high-level people today in the media, let's just say. Some pretty bigwigs that I'm still very, very close with in the national media that said, yeah, it's not wrong to focus on these questions. National media isn't going to focus on these questions. But whatever happened to not being above the law? Now, I know everyone loves to throw that term around, Wayne, but whatever happened for voting, not for dual process, but for due process, where everyone is held accountable to the same set of rules? Why did Brennan put in his notepad that he briefed POTUS on Hillary Clinton's shenanigans? It's a simple question. It's all I'd like to have answered. Any thoughts?
None.
Wow, that's a great answer for a radio show. Any thoughts, Wayne? None.
This whole thing just totally amazes me.
All right, how so?
Because at the end of the day, if Biden gets in, nobody's going to be held accountable. Statute of limitations is going to expire.
Oh, that's an interesting point.
And everybody walks free. No matter what they've done.
I have to tell you, now my friend in the media, this person did say to me, well, Bri, it's terribly ex-cop of you. It's terribly ex-criminal investigator of you to want to hold guilty people accountable. Let me set the stage for you, Wayne. I get called to the Senate to testify on something I'm involved in, or any trial for that matter, right? You raise your hand, you're taking an oath. So I get called in to a judge, and the prosecuting attorney, the people doing the interview in this particular setting, now clue all the jurisprudence, all the experts that go, well, Brian, he wasn't in a trial. It wasn't actually a legal setting. He took an oath. You got to tell the truth. Can't lie to Congress. They're the only ones that are allowed to lie to us. Come on, wake up, drink the coffee. So, 157,000 times he said, I don't remember, I don't remember, I don't recall, I don't remember, I don't recall.
That's Comey.
How does he get away with that? Right? Then he's going to post some picture of him on Instagram, rock climbing, communing with nature. How about telling the truth?
Well, and he wrote about all this stuff in his book.
Great. As far as I'm concerned, it's evidence against him. Let him keep writing about it. Let the 1,000 pages that have been released. He's starting to throw career people, career cops, career, intelligence officials under the bus. Oh, it wasn't me, it was them. Wasn't me, it was them. What kind of coward blames other people? So everyone that's pro-Comey, just stop. Just stop. I've already challenged them. Pick the octagon, meet me in it. Just stop with the James Comey, the JC superstar. Just stop. You don't throw people beneath your command or in your chain of command, your down command. You don't throw them under the bus by saying 150 some odd times you don't recall. And then you got Brennan or Clapper or any of these other people. Now that the forms have been released. So when people accuse me of being for the right, people accuse me of being pro this one or pro that one, I just like to see some bad guys go. Candace is right. Never, ever forget about Benghazi. How horrific. Absolutely true. But apparently, to continue to pump your own position politically, it's okay to throw people under the bus. It's okay. Right? Doesn't matter who you blame, as long as you can come out, oh, I don't recall. I don't recall. What a coward. What an absolute unmitigated coward. I don't care how many books he writes. Well, and if you're listening, you should accept the invitation to meet me in the cage.
Well, and it's interesting because that's the same response that Hillary had given when she was testifying.
Yeah, except she said, what do you mean whitewash them? You mean like with some Clorox and a glove, or Clorox and some rags? She was clearly trying to be infinitely more intelligent than she is. So here's my question. Why would Brennan write those things down in a notepad? What, because he was daydreaming? Wishing he were somewhere else other than the Oval Office? Why would he write those things down? And now all the career intelligence people going, oh, you just don't share that. Oh, yeah, I'm all over declassifying that.
Well, these guys wrote a lot of this stuff down for CYA.
Good. Great.
Is basically all
Groovy.
it was.
Great. I'm looking forward to reading the prison memoirs. Right?
Absolutely.
I'm a huge fan of the author of Convict Fitness or Convict Cardio. I even forget what the name of the book is, but two great books. I got to tell you about how to get a workout when you're in Angola. Great books. So I'll look forward to reading theirs that they pen and write as soon as they get out of prison. But that's all my question is. How do you get to do that? Candace says he may have used bills. I'm taking the Fifth Amendment back in the Monica hearing. Maybe so. Maybe so. I think Bill got off just because he was able to define the word sex differently than most other people would. But you know what I mean? Tomato, tomato, I guess, in his mind. So that's the thing for me, Wayne. Vote for whoever you want. I couldn't care less. It's between you and the voting booth or the mail-in or however else you're going to vote.
But just
for goodness,
don't whine. But just don't go whining, complaining with the consequences.
Oh, wait, are you kidding me? This country's, that's all people in this country do is whine and complain. That's all they do. So that's why I'm like, look, can we have policy be more important than the politicians that we hire to enforce the policy, right? To help us, because we're busy leading great, fantastic lives, let's hope. And we hire these politicians. It's like hiring someone to go do your grocery shopping for you. It's no different. You hire them, you go, you expect them to get a certain result and then get back to you. Well, these politicians have everyone hoodwinked. They have everyone believing that they're somehow grand and special and this and that. Look at Chuck Schumer. Hey, look, I don't want to throw Chucky anymore under the bus, right? I feel bad for people that get hair plugs. I don't want to throw Chucky under the bus any more than I already have. But let me ask you a question. In your state of Michigan, now, self-professed, because Chuck says, I will do anything to win back the Senate so that I'm in control, right? Paraphrasing him. But he's like all over winning the Senate back. How much did he spend, Wayne, on the senator's race in the state of Michigan, the state you're from?
You talking about Schumer?
Schumer.
0.
Bullshit. Sorry. You see, you're supposed to have the button ready. Schumer just dropped some ungodly amount of money to make sure that that your Democratic senator is reelected. Now, I gotta tell you, I like this guy, West Point guy.
John James.
What's his name? With John James.
Yep.
He seems like a really sharp dude.
He's pretty popular.
Yeah, great. Well, Schumer's backing the other guy to the tune. Did I see $5 million? Oh, yeah. Schumer's in it for he's in it for you. He's a public servant. $5 million of your dollars to get to keep a guy's seat so that Schumer one day can have the reins. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He's because he's just a good guy. Hey, Miss Putnam, nice to see you. Thank you for stopping by. But you know what I mean, Wayne?
Yeah.
Can you check that for me while you're there? I think it was $5 million. It was the largest ad buy in a single week, I believe it was, in the history of political campaigning. Because he's got to hold that seat if he has any chance at all of continuing to be, he's a public servant. Cue the sound of the angels. I can hear the trumpets now. They're vibrating. Oh, wait a minute. It's not a trumpet. Oh, I'm little Chucky Schumer. I'm a public servant. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to find it.
Yeah, you'll find it. I have no doubt. Here's another thing I want to ask you. If everyone's so fired up, well, you know what? We'll say that. We're going to get ready to run to the bottom of the hour. Don't forget, as soon as we get into the top side of this hour, you're welcome to give us a call, and you can text us all along. Let me say quickly hello to the people listening in on YouTube. Also, our good friends listening over at mortalup.com. Thank you so very much. We super appreciate your time, as we do the folks listening on Spitter, the Blue Bubble, a.k.a. Twitter, the Blue Bubble. Also, everyone listening on LinkedIn. And if you're listening to the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Wayne tells me there's a whole boatload of places that you can get it. Thank you all so very much for listening. All right, Wayne, you're going to grab it.
You're listening to The Brian Brawdy Show. Why? Because you know the truth when you hear it. He'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Brian Brawdy Show, brought to you by our good friends at Counterpunch Media and Certifiable Brilliance. It's time to buckle up. All right, we love that. I got to tell you, thank you very much to our good friends. Thank you very much to our good friends at Counterpunch Media. Also, over at Certifiable Brilliance. Thank you very much. My phone keeps going off. It's making like some kind of squawking noise. Look at that. I got to get that out of there. Oh, that's the timer. Oh, that's what it is. All right. So thank you very much to Counterpunch Media, as always, and also Certifiable Brilliance. We'll have more, probably not this week because it's already Wednesday, but beginning next week, we'll have a little more about the relationship there, what we're doing, and why we're so thrilled to have them as sponsors. Let me say hello before we open the phone lines to a couple other people. And yes, let me just say, sometimes at the end of the day, it is not Parkinson's, but that was very insightful. Someone saw me taking a little sip of hot. Notice that I was shaking a little bit. Thank you very much. Nah, it's just, who knows? Yeah, it's just old age is what it really is. But thank you for checking. Also, Candace says, why didn't they have drive-through ballots, just like testing? At least people could match up. I agree with you. That's a great idea. Candace also says Chucky belongs in Silence of the Lambs. Wouldn't that be something if it was Silence of the Lambs meeting the little Chucky doll, and they each had, their one had a mask and the other one had their little knife running around the place? Chucky. Crazy, crazy stuff. All right, Wayne, let's go ahead. And I hear Bill is in the waiting.
The phone lines are open. Now's your chance to mortal up and give Brian a shout, because your opinion deserves to be heard. Dial toll-free 1-833-MORTAL-1. That's 833-MORTAL-1.
All right, don't forget, you can also text us, the hieroglyphics, 833-667-8251. It's toll-free, 833-667-8251. So if you don't have an opportunity to jump on over onto Facebook, at Brian Brawdy Official, you most certainly can send us a text that'll come right in here to the studio, or you can call and you'll get to hear the melodious tones of Wayne. You call into the studio and Wayne will be there to let you know where you are in the queue. All right, Wayne, so we're talking tonight about tyranny, and we'll get into it here in the final quarter of the hour, a little more into the Mind Up segment. Mind Up. There's a Freudian slip. The Mortal Up segment. But one of the things that we've been talking about is this sense of tyranny when there are two tiers of rules, where there are laws for everybody, and then there are laws for the people that make their laws. And it's become really popular for them to say, oh, he or she isn't above the law. But when in fact, what happens is they pull these kind of shenanigans, they pull these kind of things, and then that's when the animosity, that's when people start getting worked up. Thank you, Counterpunch. There it is, 833-667-8251. You can call or text. But then that starts to happen, right? Where people go, well, they think they're above the law. They get to do stuff like this. They get to try to pull the bait and switch. Brian says, hi from Jersey. Hello, Brian. Hope all is well. Good. Travel safe. Good luck in Jersey, whatever you're doing there. I'm sorry, I haven't been on social today, so I don't even know why you're in Jersey, but good luck for whatever reason you are there. Thank you for joining us this evening. And we're just talking about why there should be one set of rules that everyone has to follow, right? Unless you're able to talk yourself out of a speeding ticket from a state trooper. then I'm good with there being two sets of rules. Stop everybody else but a handful of us, right? And then give us warnings. Everyone else can go, right? It's crazy for me to even say, well, right, I don't believe that at all. Not in the least. Who would say that, right? But it's okay for our elected officials to act that way. And the question that we posed during the last half hour, well, the poll that you can go over to mortalup.com to vote is that, are we the people here in America, are we heading for a civil war? Is that going to be the outcome of the election? Regardless of who wins, everyone seems ready to go to battle. So maybe that's the case. Maybe that's what it will be. And then the second question, why would Brennan write in his notes that he had briefed then President Obama on Hillary's muddying of the waters to kind of obscure what was going on in some other areas of the world, most certainly her world? So why is it that they get to pull these kind of shenanigans? And again, vote for whoever you like. I'd like a discussion on policy, not a cult of personality. I really would. But we get so into this cult of personality where it's like, I'm never going to vote for this guy, or I'm never going to vote for this girl, or this is who I'm going to vote for, or this or that, but never about the policy. Very seldom about what the truth is. Very seldom about right or wrong. Look, if you believe in the Second Amendment, and you know that, look, the Second Amendment is very nice, but I call them retractable clause. You have a responsibility. Everyone says, well, you have a right to bear arms. Couldn't care less about your rights. I really couldn't. You have a responsibility to be able to protect the people around you, especially with all the craziness about defund the police. So people go, well, I got a right to carry a gun. Couldn't care less, needle nits. You have a responsibility to be able to do whatever you have to protect your family, your friends, your neighbors, to protect an underdog from being bullied. So long before it was granted as a right, Second Amendment, I like the reminder, hey, it's a tap on the shoulder, a little ribbon around your finger, right? Great, thank you very much. It's a Post-it note on the refrigerator. Don't forget, you have a responsibility, retractable clause. You don't have to run around with a 50 caliber machine gun on your shoulder, but when it comes time to mix it up, when it comes time to square your shoulders with fate, to draw your line in the sand, to draw liberty's line in the sand, out come those retractable clause. It's not a right. It's a responsibility. It's on you. It's your karma. It's your, whatever you want to call it. So why would you vote for a politician that views that differently, right or wrong? And I'd be saying the same thing. If President Trump viewed it differently from me, it's not that I was voting against Trump because I didn't like the guy. Not that I'm voting against Biden because I didn't like the guy. Their political platform is different than my opinion. I think you have the responsibility to protect yourself, the people around you, and your loved ones from predators. And the world is full of predators. And if you think that you can keep predators at bay by punching in 911, they're not coming for you. There's just not enough people on the other side of the thin blue line. Paramedics, firemen, police officers. There's just not enough of them to respond. So it's not your right. Oh, it's my right. Who cares about your rights? Most certainly not the politicians. A good number of the politicians that we elect. Doesn't seem like they care about your rights. It's your responsibility. That's just one of them, though. So outside of the cult of personality, there are things you either believe in or you don't believe in. You believe in a strong military or you don't believe in a strong military, right? There's just certain things. Even your whole question about pro-life, pro-choice, pro-this, pro-that. You have a political policy. You have a platform. Your party runs on that platform. But we've turned it into a cult of personality, right? Oh, well, let's wait and hear what LeBron James says. About what? Oh, let's wait and see what this athlete says. About what? Oh, let's wait or see what Alec Baldwin, an actor, says. About what? What? About what? And here's another thing. I'll only hold this for a minute, Wayne, because I know we're going to jump into mortal up here in just a bit. It always used to irk me. And I probably have said this to Bart. I probably have said this to Brian. For years, I've been saying this. Did you ever notice it's the politicians that have bodyguards that are the ones that are anti-Second Amendment? Did you ever notice it's the politicians with a six-pack full of armed guards, machine guns at the M16s at the very least, machine guns at the ready to protect them? They're the ones screaming, guns are no good, guns are no good. Kamala Harris, I want your guns, I want your guns, I want your guns. She's not giving up the state police detail. Now she's got a Secret Service detail. You don't see her defund Secret Service. Here's another one. These politicians making DUI laws, right? Now I know people are going to go, oh no, not another rant, not more drunks against mad mothers. Not saying that. All due respect against mothers of drunk drivers. All I'm saying is, right, the position between mad and damn. All I'm saying is, what's always gotten my goat is that politicians that have chauffeurs that can drink their face off at these galas, these balls, these political events. Oh, very important to be your public service that I attend these political events. They can drink their lips off, drink till they can't remember who they are. And the security detail packs them into the backseat of the car and their chauffeur drives them away so that they can get back the next morning and make DUI laws even tighter. Wayne, you got, I'm sorry. I got a little bit of a roll there. Hello, Wayne. Hello, who's this?
Hey, good evening. It's Bart.
Bart, how are you, brother? What's going on?
Nothing. I'm doing just great, and I thought I'd call in tonight. You've really touched some comments this evening that were all about the Second Amendment, and then you switched over to, people having the right to protect their families, their friends, and things like that. And then you went on to talk a little bit about, do you believe there's going to be some type of uprising and things of that sort? And, Brian, I would have told you 7, 8, 10 months ago, that's hogwash. You're not going to see that in the United States. There's not an uprising coming or anything else. But I'll tell you, in my personal belief, the way things are going now, I really think we're headed down that road. And I went ahead and sent a text to you saying we're not steering the machine, and we're truly not. And I honestly believe, those folks that are out there, and I see it in my community. I drive through, and I live in the middle of nowhere, but I drive through my community, and the Trump flags are flying, and they have, the guns crossed, and Cuomo, I won't even use the word, but there's just such an anger right now that I honestly believe if the Democrats somehow pulled a miracle off, you're going to see some crazy stuff happen. And it's a shame, but I'm telling you, I'm not going to say it's warranted, but I'm telling you, Trump has just been beaten down for the last 4 years. And sooner or later, folks are going to stand up and say, hey, give the guy a darn chance.
Right. Boy, let me ask you, what do you think about this? And I don't want to put you on the spot, so you're welcome to give a general answer to it. But, I was talking the other day about Trump being beaten down. First, there was first there was the tapes by Billy whoever from, was it NBC, ABC, whatever. There were the tapes. Then there was the Russian collusion. Then there was the Ukraine call. Then there was COVID. Then there was this or that. Do you think him coming down with COVID, going through it, recovering as quickly as he did, do you think that's going to be a plus or a minus for him overall? Because you think other people look at it and go, look, the guy's 74, right? Yeah, he's probably had a few more Big Macs than we have. Okay, great. I get it. So he's got maybe a comorbidity. But do you think coming down with COVID is going to work out, not physiologically, right? Not in terms of his health, but his political health. Do you think people are going to hold that against him? Or do you think that will help people rally around him when it comes to the election?
Brian, I'll answer by saying, it's going to go in two different directions. The media is going to make sure that his particular bout with this disease, and then him standing up and saying, please don't let this lead your life. The media is going to beat him up over that. The American people are out there, and they're saying, look, this old-timer, he just went through it. He got the disease. He's back out there. He's moving around. He's making things happen. So, it depends on who has the majority of the purse strings. The media's out there, and they're already torturing them. But you saw the people coming together outside of Walter Reed, and
Sure.
they were waving their Trump flags, and they were having, outings and getting together, things like that. I practice a little bit of distance. I don't go out as much as I used to. I certainly don't take my young son out, into
Sure.
the grocery store or things like that. But that's my own personal,
Sure.
that's my own personal bit of security to make sure
Sure.
that nothing happens to him.
Sure.
So I think, answer your question, Brian, I think it could go either way. The media is out there, and they're putting just unbelievable dollars into making sure that everybody believes, he's just a terrible, terrible person. And,
Right.
we learned in 2018 that they didn't win. I'm hoping they're not going to win here in 20. I'm sorry, 16.
16, that's okay,
They
right?
didn't. Yeah. Well, I
That's
told
okay.
you I was in the shop and my
That's
math
okay.
isn't good. But 16 didn't work for him. I'm hoping the same thing is going on in 20. I have Brother Bob coming in, and he said, geez, he's got to leave early because he's driving all the way back to Arizona to make sure that he can vote in person. And that's exactly
Agreed.
what I'm going to do. And that's
Same
exactly
here.
what I would ask anyone else to do. Vote in person. Don't let all this nonsense about,
Right.
the polls and this and that affect what's going on. Vote in person, for goodness sake. Wear your mask if you have to, but get your word across to everybody.
And I would agree with that, Bart, because if the mask is the be-all to end-all, then wear your mask. Right? Then you'll absolutely be able to go to the polls. And now, and I won't hold you a lot longer, but Brian Bouchard says, yeah, Barth. So good on you. And the other point that I was trying to make, Bart, was that when it comes to politicians are the ones that want to make the rules about guns. Politicians are the ones that want to make the rules about DUIs. Do you find it interesting? It's the politicians that are always the one putting the screws. I call it the maniacs versus the masses. The maniacs are always trying to take it out on us. And these are the same people. They have a chauffeur. They don't have to worry about drinking and driving. They have bodyguards.
Yep.
They don't have to worry about carrying weapons. So it's just, as I say, Bart, it's the greatest time in the history of the world to be alive, because the next month, it's just going to be something to watch. Yeah, yes, it's true. I like watching little Jimmy accosted over at the CN, the Circus News Network. But outside of all the reporters and the like just going crazy about this kind of thing, I have to tell you, I know it makes me a horrible human being, but watching these mostly young women, a couple of young guys I've seen, but more than not, young women screaming at their telephones as they're driving it down the street, posting it up on Spitter, the Blue Bubble, aka Twitter, posted it up over there, how apoplectic they are that Ruth Bader Ginsburg had the nerve to die, that Ruth Bader Ginsburg somehow abandoned her, and how dare the president try to keep the record at 30-0 as opposed to 29-1, where of course he's going to nominate someone for the Supreme Court.
Brian, I'll tell you, I'll say two things in closing because I know it's a busy time for one. Try to remember back to 16 at 2 o'clock in the morning after the polls were starting to close, and the look on the anchors of the three major news stations. I would love to see those every day for the rest of my life, just to watch the look on their face like, what just happened here? It was great.
And I'd trade them all.
Thing, I just wanted to thank you and Wayne for getting to the heart of some of this nonsense.
Thank you, brother.
And talking about it. I really enjoy the show, and
Thank you.
I hope I'm going to see you soon.
I hope to see you soon too. And let me know if that whatever size shirt you need, we're going to get you one out as well. So if one didn't fit, I think you've regifted it already. But if one doesn't fit you the way you want, let me know. We'll get it out to you. And I would trade all those faces in 16, I would trade all of those faces for Wolf Blitzer's look. The look on
Yep.
Wolf Blitzer when he had to come back and make the correction, that was absolutely worth it all. All right, Bart, thanks so much for calling. I super appreciate it. I hope to see you soon. And thanks, as always, for listening to the show.
All right, take care.
See you, buddy. Love you. All right, so Wayne, I love the fact that, right, here's someone else living out in the country that says you go out, here's all the flags, here's all the things, because I live, as you know, in the suburbs of Columbus of late, and it is not a sea of flags that are pro-Trump. There are absolutely more pro-Biden Kamala Harris, regardless of Harris calling it the Harris-Biden campaign, right? The whatever it's called, you know what I mean. Regardless of that, so it's going to be a great time to be alive. And Bart, you're most certainly welcome. Thank you for listening. And we're trying every day to figure out how to keep doing it so that we can be a voice to those people that don't have an opportunity to say it, right? At least to say it out loud. They might be able to text it or tweet it, but be able to come on and say it out loud. Wayne, what say you?
I actually agree with everything that Bart just talked about.
Sure.
Yeah, and like I said, here in Michigan, you'll see, at least in central southeast Michigan,
All right.
you'll see 15, 20 Trump signs,
All right.
one Biden sign.
All right. There you go.
And again, Trump pretty much won this whole area. He basically lost in Detroit.
Right. Well, I think that's probably the way around the country, isn't it, Wayne? Where in some of the more densely populated areas, they tend to be a little more Democratic. Out in some of the rural areas, who knows if it remains like that?
Mm-hmm.
But a question that I didn't get a chance to ask Bart earlier, and I would love to get your opinion, or maybe I did ask Bart, and I'd like you to comment on the opinion. Do you think this helps or hurts either Trump or Biden, President Trump or Joe Biden, the president coming down with COVID, and I should say, recovering from it, if you believe the reports, recovering from it so quickly? Do you think it helps or hurts his overall chances?
I actually believe that it helps him.
Okay.
They accused him of lying because he didn't want to put the country into panic mode.
Right.
And this basically comes in, and he's basically trying to let everyone know this may not be as bad as it was put out there as.
And do you think that's going to benefit him? You think it's going to help or hurt?
I think it's going to help him in a lot of areas.
All right.
And there are some places, like the West Coast, New
Okay.
York, New Jersey. It's going to hurt, but he's not going to win those areas anyway.
No, right, exactly. And that's the sad thing about it in adding to what Bart had to say. Let me just say, Brian also says, just because you have a right doesn't mean you're absolved of responsibility to use that right in a way that doesn't cause a reassessment of those rights for the rest of us. Absolutely agreed, Brian. Matter of fact, I'm still learning how to do this here in the studio, but I can go up like that. Yeah, I just gave that one a love. How do you like that? That's right, Wayne. I just posted a heart right there. All right, Wayne, it's 5 till, so let's do this. Let's run to the next little thing so that we can get out on time and get ready for the all-important vice presidential debate, now just 1 hour and 6 minutes away.
Portions of this broadcast have been pre-recorded.
Why? Because you can't get these people to hit a call time. They're the worst. Nah, I'm just kidding. We love our guests. Yeah, and clearly, because I'm running so far behind, the person that's the worst at hitting a call time is me. So yes, portions of this are pre-recorded. Not that any of tonight's was pre-recorded, but every so often there could be a pre-recorded one, as we've mentioned. All right, Brian says, a ride through the Finger Lakes this weekend, and the lawn signs were more segregated by town than lawn. Look at that. Well, that's something. Well, we'll know very shortly, Brian, won't we? We'll know for sure. All right, let's hop right into Mortal Up in our closing. What have we got? About 4 minutes left. We started kicking off tonight. Thank you, Wayne. in our Mortal Up section, we started kicking off with tyranny. And yes, everyone's worried if this one gets elected, if that one gets elected. Most certainly, those people that think we're going to be, whether it's leftist dogma or rightist dogma, wherever it is, you think you're going to end up in tyranny. But I've found that in speaking with a lot of people, and it's just playing itself out now on social media, the tyranny that's even greater than the macro level tyranny, right? I don't want to go all Viktor Frankl in the concentration camps, but he was on to something. I don't want to go all Stoic, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, right? I don't want to go all Stoic, Zeno, but there, I guess I just did. There was my hat trick of Stoic philosophers. But the tyranny that I want to focus on in our last couple minutes is the tyranny that we hold ourselves to. It's the jail that we keep ourselves in. And we keep ourselves incarcerated by a lack of understanding of our natural resources, by the lack of exercising our true grit, our lack of applying the buried logic in our lives. We keep ourselves tyrannically encaged when we forget who we are. We talk all the time about the amnesia, and I believe that to be the case. Having suffered clinical, they call it transglobal amnesia, but having suffered 3 bouts of transglobal amnesia since the beginning of my brain surgeries, throughout the course of my 5 brain surgeries, I can tell you that it feels tremendously the same to me when you watch people forget who they really truly are. They go through them. Look, one case, I showered, I got dressed, partially dressed. I came downstairs, I was carrying on a conversation. A couple other events, I was able to draw. I was able to do things. I just had no clue who I was, where I was, as best I can tell. My mind doesn't go back into those black holes, right? My mind doesn't go back into those recesses, those dark corners of my mind. I can't get my vision back there. But the nomenclature, the operating system was all the same. I was going through the motions, going through the flow. And I see it now in the faces of a lot of people where they've forgotten who they truly are. So Mortal Up is all about memory, motivation. What a crock of baloney. See, Wayne? Thought I was going to say shit there. What a crock of crap. Motivation. Because if you need to be motivated, you missed the point. When you remember who you ultimately are, when you're able to tap your natural resources, as I said, your authentic vigor, your buried logic, when you're able to tap those things, you don't need motivated. It's like people say, oh, I needed motivation to inhale. No, you didn't. You need Tony Robbins or Zig Ziglar, or who's the other little nut running around now, prancing around, jumping around on stage like he's a Vegas slot machine. Oh, Brendan Bouchard. If you need someone like, oh, I'm the #1 motivational speaker in the world. If you need someone like that to breathe, you ain't breathing. All I'm simply suggesting is that we hold ourselves in prison when we allow that apathy. It may be dead in us, maybe dormant. It's not tapped out. It hasn't died. Those things are in you. And when you tap those natural resources, when you mortal up, when you pull the sword from the stone, which I believe is pulling your own spine out of the morass, that's when you say, I'm not going to be jailed any longer. I'm not going to subject myself to that tyranny. There's enough macro tyranny going on in the world. I don't need the micro tyranny. All right, Wayne. Sorry, ran long. Or maybe not. You can get us out of here in enough time. Thank everybody for everything. Thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow night. Good night to everyone on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, blah, 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 blah. You know, Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio. Thank you. Thank you to our sponsors, Counterpunch Media, and also, certifiable brilliance. Thank you so very much. We're out.
Thanks for listening to the Brian Brawdy Show. Until next time, get out there and mortal up. Thanks for listening to the